I guess I'm getting a little bit more coverage, or I guess varied subscribers, because a couple of them, when I made a comment about the lack of ISIS attacks in Saudi Arabia, pushed back against my comment. Now they have started sending me translated versions of the news in Saudi Arabia, and for whatever reason, mainstream media is starting to cover bombings and terrorist attacks within Saudi Arabia. This particular story you're going to see is not that old, but as soon as the attacks went down, I immediately got information from the people over in Saudi Arabia, and 24 hours later, at least CNN is giving these stories some coverage.
A horrific end to the Muslim holy month of Ramadan as Islam itself comes under siege from ISIS and those willing to die for ISIS. Within just a 24-hour period, suicide bombers launched 3 separate attacks in Saudi Arabia, a key U.S. ally and the spiritual home of Islam. The most shocking attack at the religion's second most sacred site, the tomb of the Prophet Muhammad. At least 4 people were killed. ISIS, again, the suspect. After urging its followers to wage terror during Ramadan, attacks have circled the globe and killed hundreds from Orlando to Europe to Asia. Let's begin with CNN's Becky Anderson. She's live in Abu Dhabi this morning. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Carolyn. While not all of these attacks have actually been claimed by ISIS, it was that chilling warning by the group's spokesman released by audio tape in late May, calling for a month of attacks, of calamity and jihad that has proved to be the precursor to so much carnage. Now, let's remember 1 in 5 people across the globe are Muslim, and Ramadan is meant to be a month of peace and reflection. This year, it has been anything but. So, what do we know about this Medina attack? Well, my sources tell me this was a lone attacker who was stopped by security personnel as he approached the exit of the Prophet's Mosque. Just as the call to sunset prayers was ending, he was stopped and questioned, and he detonated his device. Now, he killed a number of security guards and injured a number of others. So, Carol, were he to have made it into the mosque, he would have been among tens of thousands of worshippers, and the resultant carnage might have been just the sort of spectacular horror that ISIS or groups inspired or professing to be working in the name of might have been calling for. Now, while this is not the most deadly of the attacks that you've alluded to over this Ramadan month, I cannot overstate the emotional and psychological impact that this attack on this mosque will have had on Muslims around the world. One Saudi expert I spoke to put it this way. He said, what more evidence do Muslims need than an attack on one of the holiest sites to say that enough is enough, and to weed out those who might be indifferent to extremist militants and to their actions. Some, Carol, might go so far as to say that this marks a time for a concerted anti-ISIS coalition with Arab and Muslim members at its core, as it is Muslims all over the world who are in the main the victim of these awful attacks, as you and I know. Carol?
All right, we're going to be talking about that in just a bit. Becky Anderson reporting live from Abu Dhabi, but I do have Britt.
All right. So now all of a sudden there's an uptick in information coming out of Saudi Arabia as far as ISIS attacks. Now, in my own personal opinion, and it's just that because I'm not a Muslim, you know, I'm a Christian, Baptist, these ISIS guys are full of crap. And for whatever reason, they basically want to take, I guess, the Muslim world back to ancient times, holy, you know, Sharia law, etc. This is a bunch of bullshit. And if this doesn't tell you that everybody needs to get together, be of one mind to go get these guys, because, you know, Ramadan is a holy month. It's supposedly, it's not supposedly, it is a month of peace. And for these guys to attack Muslims during this particular month and in a really holy city, a sacred site, goes beyond the pale. I mean, these guys have, basically they have no morals. They're out there just creating carnage everywhere, and for what? They're trying to make it seem like they are on the side of God or Allah. That's their name for God, and they're not, because and I've read the Quran, and it doesn't state anywhere in there that this type of behavior is acceptable. They specifically, or the Quran specifically states that innocents shouldn't, are inviolate. They shouldn't be attacked. Anyone who attacks an innocent is guilty of a crime, and those are the people that basically should be put to death, if that's where you want to go with this. So, in my opinion, Saudi Arabia needs to get on board, along with all of the other Muslim countries and the people in Europe and us. We all need to get on board. We need to get on the same page, and we need to join in a consolidated effort to go get these guys, and I mean to really go get them.